The market of cheap action cameras is pretty crowded, but we just came across an affordable camera made by Wimius. It costs just about $70 US, but it has quite a few features like 20 megapixel Sony CMOS sensor and 4K video recording. My name is Linus, learn more in our full review. As usual to most of the cheap action cameras, it comes with a ton of accessories that include all sorts of mounts, cradles, and so on. A few notable accessories include a waterproof case, a spare battery, and a bike cradle. The Wimius L1 sports a little bit different than classic action camera design. It has a quadratic shape, it's made of plastic, the build quality is pretty good, and it is very light. The buttons are nice and tactile, and we have a few parts that include the micro USB, micro HDMI, and the micro SD card slot. As for the camera, we have a beefy 20 megapixel Sony IMX078 CMOS sensor with 170-degree wide-angle lens. There is also a Novatech chipset that does everything for the image processing. A 2-inch display does not have the highest resolution out there, but it gets the job done for an action camera, and I had no issue seeing it indoors or outdoors. You can navigate through the menus using the buttons, and the user interface is pretty straightforward. You can adjust the resolution, play with the image settings, and adjust quite a few different settings if you wish so, but I guess that most of us will just use the auto mode. You can also view the pictures you took or the videos you shot straight on the action camera. The camera also has a built-in Wi-Fi, and that means that you can connect it to your phone using the app. The application allows you to use the phone as a viewfinder. However, there is a slight delay like on most of the action cameras. You can also watch the videos you shot or adjust some settings and so on. In order to test the quality of 4K and 1080p video, I used the Zhiyun Rider M gimbal for action cameras. This camera can shoot videos at the maximum resolution of 4K at 24 frames per second. I have to say that the video quality is pretty good for such a cheap action camera. Sure, there could be a little bit more detail, but you simply can't ask more for the price. The 2.5K video at 30 frames per second looks a little bit smoother due to a higher count of frames per second, but naturally, there is a little bit less detail. The 1080p video at 30 frames per second looks pretty good for such a cheap action camera. 1080p video at 60 frames per second is probably my favorite format for action cameras if you shoot a lot of moving objects or you move quickly yourself.
Currently I'm shooting a video in 1080p resolution at 30 frames per second. Today is a pretty cloudy day.
The sound recording quality is terrible, like on most of the cheap action cameras. The slow motion video at 720p is usable, but there could be definitely more detail. As far as the still image quality, it's actually really good for such a cheap action camera. There is a good amount of detail, pictures look quite sharp, and even color reproduction is decent. A 1000 mAh battery performs great, knowing the fact that the camera has a 2-inch display. I could get about 1 hour and 20 minutes of 4K video recording and around 3 hours of total usage per charge. All in all, the Wimius L1 4K action camera is a great choice for those who don't want to spend hundreds for a GoPro, but still want to have a small device that can shoot videos and take pictures. For the price of just about $70, video and still image quality is really good. Finally, if you're looking for a cheap action camera, the Wimius L1 is a good offering for the price.